Hey, everybody. Welcome to our second Get the Word Out episode of the day with my guest host, Carlie Dunn. I love her so much. This is another episode about gatekeeping. Carlie is a social media influencer using her talents, which are many, to try to help Indiana democracy. She was recently, they're trying to kick her out of her county party. I don't know whether it's going to work. I hope she keeps fighting, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it feels like to be a woman in Indiana right now. It is HARD, and we're going to talk about solutions and how we work together. I know my life is better because I'm friends with Carlie and all the other great people that I've met fighting for Indiana. So let's get into it, you guys. Let me start Instagram, and then we are going to talk. So thank you for being on. I basically messaged you just a couple hours ago and asked if you wanted to do this, and you said sure, because this morning I woke up to the news that your friend Courtney told me that you had been sort of kicked out of your county party, which really shouldn't even be a thing we can say. Shouldn't be happening. I just want to tell people how I met you. Carlie, what is your TikTok name? Is it Carlie with the IE? Carlie with IE?
Yeah.
Carlie with IE. She's on TikTok. You should look her up. Pause this right now. Get your phone out. Go to TikTok and follow her adorable TikToks. They make me happy. I think my favorite thing, she does these like dance videos and then she puts up facts about like Indiana democracy, and I love them so much. They bring me joy. And yes, we have that problem. Oh yeah, we got that problem too. And I met her when I joined TikTok for running for State House. I met you, and you reached out to me and you were like, "Hey, Sarah Blessing, running for State House 70. Can I do a fundraiser for you and give you money for your campaign?" And I'm like, "What? Yes." And you did. You did this like dance fundraiser, and you raised money for a ton of Indiana Democratic candidates because you want to make our extreme state better. So Carlie, say hi to everybody and introduce yourself a little bit.
So I'm Carlie, and I'm from Indiana. I got my master's in social work, so I'm just really passionate about social justice and just people in general. And living in Indiana, it's hard out there. And I'm in Texas. I've been in Texas for 2 months now because it wasn't safe for me in my community. But I haven't missed a beat. I mean, I'm still paying attention all the time to everything that's going on in Indiana, and especially just our political state nationally. So it's just really important for me to still advocate for what's right and fight for Hoosiers.
Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate. I just said on the last live I did with Kurt Mullet that I've been working really hard trying to help my friend Destiny Wells win as Indiana State Dem Chair, and she was so close. She was going to win, and they did a few underhanded things to make sure the person that to keep themselves in power from making any change, basically. And I just want to thank you because you were working too. You were working to get Destiny, and that means a lot to me. I helped explain a little bit what was going on behind the scenes because again, you're not here right now, so you didn't know. And I told you, and you're like, "What?" And I'm like, "I know. Can you help me?" And you did. You helped, and I think we're both devastated what happened on Saturday. And then you kind of, oh, shout out to Laura. She said she signed the petition after. If you want to know more about what happened with Indiana State Dem vote for chair on Saturday, just watch the first 5 minutes of the last episode I did with Kurt on Get the Word Out. It would be the previous episode. I really explained it in detail. But basically, she almost won. Underhanded things happened to keep same old in power. Same old won. Republicans in Indiana are happy with this choice. And when Republicans are making public posts about, yay, good job for choosing this person, that should be a wake up call that maybe we didn't choose the right person. So after that happened, you made a petition with your friend Courtney, right? You guys made one together, and I signed it. And just tell us about that.
So when I heard the news, I mean, I was devastated because I thought that this was our first chance of actually getting some progression and some change. And, as I've learned more about Destiny, I feel like, I'm kind of like her in a sense because people, have this different perception of me because I'm so outspoken. And I don't know. It's just a shame that people have like they're not ready for Destiny, and I've been told that people are not ready for my ideas and my outspokenness in Indiana, and it's just a shame because that's the person that we need. And then so as I'm reading these comments on the announcement saying like, just all these negative comments, saying that this was not the right choice, like they chose the wrong person, and then I waited until I saw somebody that was like, we need to have her resign. I was not the first person to, say that. So I just, me being me, I advocate for the people and what the people want. So when I saw that, I was like, we have to do something. And then, I just commented maybe a couple things like, we need to organize something and do something. And then Courtney had reached out and said, I'm interested. So then we spent an hour and a half on the phone and we put that petition together. And I mean, I don't know if it's going to change anything. I'm really hoping so, because I think it would be the right thing to do
I
for,
agree. Best case
yeah,
scenario, best
it
case
would.
scenario, these people realize they messed up and we go back and somehow get Destiny. I don't know how likely that is, but that would be the best for Indiana right now. That decision. Thanks, Courtney, for being on. She said, yes, I helped with the petition. Thank you for speaking up, Carlie. I am with you. I truly do not think the reorganization process is very democratic or a grassroots approach. I would agree with you there, Courtney. And I've just recently become friends with you, and thanks for messaging with me. You seem just amazing,
She is,
um,
absolutely
and she
is.
has some power at
Mhm.
her county level too, which is great with the Democrats. Um, yes, so this seems like a democratic, not angry, fair, reasonable approach. Sign this petition saying you would like Karen Talion to resign and we would like Destiny Wells to be in power,
Yeah.
especially considering that underhanded deals were made within the Central Committee at the
Mhm.
last minute, like the last 2 days, to
Yeah.
make sure Karen got enough votes. And it was 18-14, I believe. It was very close.
Mhm.
And those last personally, Adam Dickey expressed to me on the phone, District 9 chair, he's one of the main reasons that we got Karen. He expressed concern that he needed to be on the right vote. Whoever he voted for needed to be the one that won. And I just personally thought that was really gross. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, Destiny was going to win until these underhanded things happened. And I think it's perfectly acceptable for Democratic leaders in the state to say, the best thing for Indiana would be for this person to resign and to get Destiny. But what happened? So you did this, and keep telling me what happened.
Yeah. So then I get a message from my county chair yesterday morning saying, I'm calling you today. Which, if you know me, I match people's energy. So, like, you come at me like that, like demanding a phone call. I'm like, okay. And what is this pertaining to, And I said, if this is regarding the petition, like, I'm not going to be silenced. I'm not going to, like, end it. And she said, it is. And she made it seem like she did me a favor by telling me who the congressional district chairs were. And I was like, well, that should be,
Public.
information that's, yeah, public. And she said that I could have found that anywhere. But honestly, finding information about the reorganization process was one thing because it's on the website, but you have to search for it. It wasn't publicized. So this whole process just seemed, and they didn't publicize who the candidates were that were running. I saw, last minute, like last week, that there were like 3 more candidates that had said that they were going to run, and then apparently they didn't end up running.
And I
So it was
never
just,
saw an official thing that Derek Camp resigned, but apparently he did on Friday. And I wouldn't have known that if
right,
I hadn't talked to both Destiny Wells and Adam Dickey on the phone.
right. It's
So,
just,
yes, the lack of transparency about what was going on, yeah, that was evident. I want to point out some really good comments from Mike. Thank you, Mike. Mike said, In Arizona, over 700 Democrats vote on the party chair. Earlier this year, they got rid of the failed party chair, even though she got endorsed by the Arizona governor and Senator Mark Kelly. And then he said, only having 30 people vote in the reorganization day and our chairperson was decided on backroom deals, not popular democracy. Thanks for saying that, because we don't really realize what happens in other states. So another
Right.
state like Arizona, it's set over 700 people. That
Yeah.
was one of the things Destiny wanted to change if she was able to become chair. She wanted more people at the table to vote. And we didn't even know how many people it was. I kept asking Destiny, how many people get to vote? And she'd tell me one number. And the next week she'd tell me another number. And then the next week she told me another number. She was still trying to figure it out. So it was very confusing. And it turned out to be like in the 40s of people, but like 12 of them got half a vote. Like so
Yeah.
confusing.
I don't understand that. And then apparently one of the college Democrats isn't eligible to vote, or they're not registered to vote in Indiana. So technically that shouldn't have been allowed. So I don't know. It just seems really the
So
whole
there were
process.
shady things that happened in
Yeah.
that backhanded dealings with, but they're all technically Indiana Democratic policy legal. It's not
Right.
like we can say they did something illegal. They said, Adam Dickey, if you do this, 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 and this,
Hmm.
and then we will do these things for you. If you
Right.
get Karen Talion elected, we will do these things for you in District 9. Technically, that's allowed.
Hmm.
Was he listening to the majority of the progressive driven, motivated people in District 9 who wanted Destiny? No, he blindly chose to ignore us. But it's not like he did something not allowed.
Right. And
You
that's
know, it
why I was hoping that because on TikTok I was talking about like please contact your congressional district chairs and please let them know like who you want as your state party chair, you know. And because we should have a voice in this process. It is a democratic process. We are the Democrats. So like why not allow the people to voice their opinions? So when I was asking, you know, specifically on Facebook comments like, "Hey, can you prove that you tallied how many contacts you received and that it was Karen Talion over Destiny?" And they wouldn't do that.
no.
And so,
I guarantee if this was a Democrat primary and all Democrats that were involved could go and vote, 100% Destiny Wells would have won.
yeah.
And it wouldn't have been close. If you looked at Karen Talion, I don't think she had commented on any social media in 2 years. And then Destiny actively calling out Democrats for alleged sexual assault,
Right.
it being one of the few leaders to do that.
Yeah. Which
So you
means,
look at the difference there.
yeah.
The amount of sexism, even though a woman won and a woman lost, the amount of sexism that kept Destiny from winning was really huge.
Mhm.
Destiny's 41. I told her this personally. She's similar to you.
One.
She looks like a model. So a
She's
lot of jealousy there. I know that happens with you. You also look like a model. You are gorgeous. It's
Thank you.
just a fact.
Thank you.
Um, I mean, I guess you say opinion, but I mean, I would say most people would consider. And the fact that she looks like she does, plus she has all this military training and is a military leader, she's still involved
Yeah,
in the reserves. She has this leadership ability that's like a man. And there's a lot of people that don't like that coming from what Destiny looks like, this
yeah.
beautiful model picture. They don't like, and she's done it to me. I'll be talking, she'll say something, and then I'll say something, and she'll go, I wasn't finished with my point. And she'll keep going. She's not being rude,
I
she's
love
being a
that.
badass leader.
Yeah.
And if she were in a 41 white male package, I don't think
Right.
anybody would come out and say they had a problem with his leadership style. But the
Mhm.
thing that makes Destiny Destiny is she's so brave because she's a woman, because she looks like she does. She's had people try to control her whole life, and she's fought and she's figured out how to get out of it.
Right.
And it's so painful to me because I see myself a lot in Destiny. I'm trying to be a leader. I'm 44. I'm trying to do this and being told I'm too young. And I'm like, 44, not too young. And I just thought sexism wasn't as bad as it still is. And I really hoped in the Indiana Democratic Party it would be better. And it's not their fault. It's the culture's fault. We're not there yet. We still haven't even had a freaking woman president in
Right.
America. So it's the admitting of, if you are offended by the way Destiny talks to you, it's not because she's being rude. It's because she talks to you like a military leader,
Right.
or she was trained to do that. She would be the absolute best person to run our state Democratic Party because of that. But a
Hmm.
lot of people had the cultural things and didn't figure it out in time that it was sexist to get people to vote for her. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think they're just intimidated by that because I've been told many times that people are intimidated by me, but I feel like I'm a very loving person, but I am very strong-willed and strong-headed. So if I have something to say, I'm going to say it, and I expect people to do that for me too as well. Like I don't want people to sugarcoat things when they're talking to me because it's just like get to the point,
Well, you know this, and we'll talk about more of this later, but these people in charge don't know how to talk to people like you. You're
Yeah.
scary to them. And so they like to shut you down. Same with Kurt that we had on. Nate just said this, and this is good to know because again, I don't know. I don't know about this stuff. Nate said, one thing to remember about this vote, this is the first time it has been contested since 1984. There isn't going to be a wealth of institutional knowledge left over since the last time. Some disorganization is to be expected. Sure. Totally understand that. Um, I
I-
heard I heard some. Nate said this too. I'm not a member of any organized political party. I'm a Democrat. Will Rogers. That's a quote. That's a good one. Yeah, me
yeah.
too. Yeah, and there was rumors about a DNC chair membership thing being voted on if Derek Camp left. I heard that too.
Yeah.
And I heard that by multiple people. I'm not 100% sure it's fact, but I have heard it from several people. Mike is saying that as well. Underhanded things were at play. The Central Committee got very nervous when they realized Destiny had the votes, and they did what they felt they had to keep their own power. They were very scared of change or being kicked out of their position, losing the position. People love being in power, people love having roles, even when the power you have isn't helping, isn't working. They don't see that. They think they're doing a great job. They
Mhm.
don't they don't really have accountability or vulnerability. They don't really know how to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying these people are evil people. I'm saying mentally fit. They're not the most mentally fit people. I want to use this as an example, Carlie. I don't know whether you know this or not, but Destiny and I talked about you a little bit. She said, she goes, "You're talking to Carlie? Don't. She's scary. We don't talk to her up here." And I said, "Carlie's not scary. Carlie's wonderful. She's had a rough life. She's trying to help." And
Mhm.
I reached out to you and clarified your concerns with Destiny. Reached out to Destiny, clarified her views about you, and
Yeah.
you all worked together to try to help her get chair. And
Mhm.
she texted me and she goes, "I don't know what you did with Carlie, but now she's on my side and I want to say thank you."
Yeah.
This is another example of why Destiny Wells is an incredible person.
Yeah.
She had a viewpoint that was, in my opinion, incorrect. She listened to me, somebody who has way less power than her. She doesn't have to listen to me.
Mhm.
And she used that knowledge to learn and grow.
Yeah.
You listened to me, you used that knowledge to learn and grow, and we connected and worked together to try to get Destiny elected. We
Mhm.
need leaders that have that ability to recognize they're not always right,
Right.
those people in charge.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so important about leadership is like the ability to learn and listen and learn because I mean I'm quick to speak up. I'm also quick to be like okay, like I can be wrong and I'm okay with that because I like to learn and I when I learned more about Destiny, when you told me about her, I was like, okay, she's actually a badass. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that,
You
but
can say that. Yeah.
yeah.
I say it. I say Destiny's a badass all the time.
Right, she's amazing. And like, I'm so glad that you were able, like, you can, bridge like that, I don't know, communication barrier, whatever,
It's just a communication barrier. It's no fault of you, really. It's not really any fault of Destiny. It's a communication barrier, and we can't
Yeah,
take it personal. You
right.
didn't take it personal when I reached out to you. Dusty
Mhm.
didn't take it personal when we figured this out. We all worked for the betterment of Indiana.
Yeah,
And more of us need to do that in positions of leadership. And if you don't have that ability, it is my opinion that you should resign your spot. If you
absolutely.
cannot learn and grow and work with people like you that are social media influencers, if you're going to try to kick them out of the party, you are the problem. The person trying to motivate and change in a new way, which is through social media,
Right.
you are the people we need to bring in and work with. And if you go on a tangent that doesn't work, or maybe it's too extreme, we talk to you and we work it out. You
Mhm.
mentioned something about you were worried about your TikToks or something because somebody that I don't like very much reached out to you and was telling you to change your TikToks. And I was like, well, that's stupid. You be you.
Yeah.
That's your freaking, that's your platform. You be you. You do whatever you want. My advice to you was when you talk to these elite Democrats in charge, you talk
Mhm.
to them completely differently than you talk to your followers on TikTok.
Right.
Because we do in America live in social classes. We live in a hierarchy.
Right.
We treat people at the top with different amounts of respect than we treat people at the bottom. We shouldn't. I
Right.
don't. You don't.
Yeah.
But our society, our culture does.
Yeah.
People at the top get very offended if you
Oh.
say anything, if you give them any criticism at all, and
Mhm.
then they get scared of you. Oh no, we can't control Carlie with IE on TikTok. We better shut her down because we can't control her. Exact same thing that they did to Destiny. Oh no, this woman that we invited to run for Secretary of State has her own thoughts and opinions and we can't control her. Better take her down. Better primary her. Better pump out a bunch of fake gossip about her and take her
Right.
down because we can't control her. And what are we doing?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense when we're all supposed to be on the same page for the same cause to flip seats and to make Indiana safer. I mean, it's not a safe space or it's not a safe place for a lot of people right now. And I just don't think it's fair that we are fighting within the party itself. And we should be more focused on, fighting the extremism and, taking back our state and making it safe again and also getting our rights back, especially as women. And it's just a shame that we're more focused on attacking each other and attacking another women against women, which is it's so diabolical that this is
We
what we're
should
doing.
not be attacking women. We
Yeah.
should be building them up. The last thing
Yeah.
I told Adam Dickey on our 80-minute phone conversation on Friday night, the night before the election, the last thing I told him, I said, Adam, imagine if we vote Destiny chair
Mm-hmm.
and we support her, mentor her, guide her, because we know she has the ability to
Mm-hmm.
change her mind, to be humble, to learn and grow. I've seen it personally just being her friend these last few years.
Yeah.
Why instead do we continue to gaslight her and act like she's the problem? Why do we act like you're the problem? You're not the problem. The people in power refusing to listen to the majority of us, they are the problem. And I will not tolerate this
Yeah.
gaslighting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm going to always have people like you on my show. You deserve a voice. I want more people to follow you. Follow her adorable TikToks. My husband likes them. He likes you. He asks how you're doing. I think that's really cute.
That is
Um,
sweet. Thank
my
you.
husband's a sweetheart. And we have to stop being scared of you. And then my advice to the social media um influencers that are very
Mhm.
passionate is to always remember, take out all of that passion, take out all of that emotion when you talk to
Right.
them. They get threatened, and I want to keep you in power. That doesn't mean change your messaging. Do whatever you want. You be you. But
Mhm.
we have to change how we talk to them, and I think where that's always going to be an issue because like I said, even Destiny was scared until I cleared it up. So yeah,
Right.
we're going to have to realize there's a hierarchy. The way you talk to, you know how like you if you're going to meet King Charles, there would be like a whole class of all the things you need to do, how to bow and the things to say.
Right.
I personally think that's stupid. A human being's a human being. But if I met King Charles, I would do those things because
Right.
I would want to talk to him. I would like him to know who I am.
Right.
Maybe I could highlight Indiana.
Right.
So it's like it's a balance of still be you, but when you're
Mhm.
talking to these people, we have to do it delicately. Like I personally don't want Adam Dickey yelled at. I don't want people to yell at him. I care about him as a human. He
Mhm.
made a mistake, in my opinion. He voted for the wrong person. He helped the wrong person win. I'm very upset by that. I always will be. I will accept an apology from him and I will continue to support him if he admits he made a mistake. And
Yeah.
I don't know whether he can do that. And if he can't do that, maybe we need to find some other leaders in District 9 so it's not just Adam Dickey running everything. If he's
Right.
not going to listen to us, he's allowed to make a mistake. I can forgive him for that, but I need to know he knows it was a mistake because it 100% was a mistake.
Yeah, I think it's important to just like hold each other accountable because if we don't, then how are we any better than Republicans right now? Because I think it's just really hypocritical of us to, we want us to like they want us to call our senators and everything, but when we want to have a conversation with somebody in the higher ups of the Democratic Party to hold them accountable, like updating the website or something so simple
I
and
saw they updated
easy.
the website, and I think that was because of you. Did you
Yeah, I
see
think
that? I saw that on Facebook. They said everything's been updated with all the correct things, and you were one of those people to call that out that you couldn't even find the correct people in charge on the Democratic Indiana State website. So this is
yeah,
why we need people like you calling them out. So, hey, good job. They might not want you involved in the party, but they
right.
did get scared enough to fix the website.
Yeah, no, I mean, and like that's just so. I mean, and there's paid staffers, so they they should be doing their job. I mean, it's nothing wrong to be like, hey, can you update this because like this is information that should be provided and available to us so we know who to contact.
I want to shout out Courtney, who said a brilliant thing here. She goes, I know a petition calling Karen to resign isn't going to
Mhm.
change anything, but there are 270 plus signatures and counting. We just wanted to make sure people's voices are being heard because they weren't through this process. Most people didn't even know who all the candidates were and their vision, who could vote, etc. It should be a lot more transparent and inclusive. I
Yeah.
agree with you. We tried at Project Next to interview everybody. We interviewed the three women running, and
Yeah.
then we later interviewed Derek Camp. So we interviewed four of them, and then Jennifer and Derek both dropped out. And then a few other people joined in at the last minute, but they didn't really have a chance because they hadn't been in it racking up the votes. Basically, you're calling these people all the time trying to get them to vote for you. And
Right.
so it really became down at the last minute between Karen and Destiny. And basically, Destiny had enough to win and then underhanded things. And then this
Yeah.
helps because I didn't know any of this stuff, Mike. Mike says to clarify at the national DNC meeting, there seems to have been a vote swap. Karen Tallien made a weird endorsement of Martin O'Malley for party chair, even though he was seen as an unlikely winner and far behind the frontrunners. Why did she make that vote? What was the payback for making that vote? So that's a good point. I know personally from Destiny and Adam that there were a lot of bargaining
Yeah.
things that the central committee, who has a lot of power over the whole Democrats in the state, there were a lot of bargaining things where if you vote for Karen, we will do this for you. And so this seems to have been one of them. And I just personally have to say that's gross and it makes me really sick because they should be thinking who's best for the state. And it was
Yes, the
definitely
people.
Destiny Wells.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's just a shame because I don't think people realize how important they should be, like the state leader, because, if you don't have any representation in your small town that has no Democratic representation, then there's no one holding, the sheriff, the county commissioners, the prosecutors, all
There's
these.
no accountability.
Yeah, there's no accountability. And then there's no representation that where you feel comfortable to go to. And if you don't have that support or the local parties don't have support, it's really hard to get the momentum for, Democrats to run. And it would be
And what
nice
do
to,
we need? But what did all the results? You might not know all this because you don't hear all the data like I do since I ran for state house.
no.
When the results came back in about who voted, the
Mhm.
Republican turnout was huge in Indiana. They couldn't wait to get out there and vote straight party ticket. The
Mhm.
Democrats underrepresented. We
Yeah.
would have won many local county seats had our Democrats, our registered Democrats, just come that day and vote.
Yeah.
But we haven't been able to motivate our base for a while.
Right. And that's how,
Who could have motivated our base better? Karen,
right.
75-year-old Karen Talion, or 41-year-old badass military leader,
Yeah.
lawyer, woman who's been on the campaign trail in the last two elections and has all these strengths? Gee, I wonder which one.
Right. And that's what I was, when I first started on TikTok, the reason why I started posting is because I saw, Corinne and how she was being a badass and talking about Indiana politics. And I was like, wow. And I didn't know about any of the, down the ballot candidates until I was on TikTok. And then I learned from TikTok, not from the state party, that
Right,
there are
same.
amazing women across the state. And I was like, why aren't we need to be
I
like,
was running for state house. The only way me and you met was on TikTok, which I
right.
never would have got on if I wouldn't have run for state house. You know why I was told to get on TikTok? To meet Corinne Straight.
Oh,
My
really?
hairstylist, Dana, who
Yeah.
does this, by the way, she's
Love it.
amazing. She goes, Sarah, you got to get on TikTok. There's a whole bunch of Indiana Democrats on there, and you need to meet a person named Corinne Straight. And now she's one of my freaking best friends, and I work on Project Next with her. I am
Yeah.
so lucky. And I wouldn't have done that if I wouldn't have gotten TikTok. And that's how we met. And I'm so glad we're friends.
Yeah, me too. It's amazing like how I felt so isolated in my hometown. So when I got on TikTok and I found like this community and like I was like, there's more Democrats in Indiana. Are you kidding me? I thought I was just like this small little
Yeah.
blue dot.
And Jennifer McCormick said this to me privately at a Andy Brashear event I attended. She
Mhm.
goes, I'm so tired of the narrative that we're a blue dot in a red state. That's not true.
Mhm.
We're a purple state with a voting problem. And also, Destiny says that, also, we don't have motivation for these Dems to vote. They're very hopeless. They
Yeah,
say openly all the time, I can't tell that the Democrats in charge care about us.
right.
I am now one of those people that say that.
Absolutely.
I wasn't there. I was like, no, we're trying because my county's good. I thought the district was doing a good job. Now add me to the list of I
Mhm.
feel like my voice doesn't matter. Laura, my friend Laura Williamson, she ran for county commissioner in Clark. That's how I met her. And
Oh,
we're friends
okay.
now. And she said we didn't get near the support running as we should have. And she's right. And she was on TikTok doing the same thing I was. And she really did a good job of calling out all the Jamie Knoll corruption in Clark County. That's her county. And
Mhm.
did
Okay.
Democrats win in Clark County? No. They voted this. They voted some new better people, but they voted a lot of the same people in that supported Jamie Knoll, who's in jail now. So I mean,
Oh, okay. That's who that
Jamie
is.
Knoll
Okay.
is the bad sheriff. He was there's a lot of
Yeah.
he was chair of Clark County Republican, chair of District 9 Republican Party, sheriff of Clark, and he also ran Utica fire somehow. I don't exactly know how, but he got in he like infiltrated the board and the people that were working for that Utica fire. He got them in there. He handpicked his people, and he did a lot of gatekeeping, kicked good people off the ballot, got people that were
Mhm.
his friends on the ballot and rewarded them, and he basically stole $5 million of Indiana taxpayer money.
That was crazy to read
He's in
about that.
jail now. And people really ate up the stories about what he did with the money because he bought like a ton of cars and suits and gifts for his he was married, gifts for his wife, gifts for his girlfriends, gifts for his yeah. So but
Oh.
I really focused in on the pain he caused. He hurt a lot
Mhm.
of people, and people died because they had bad ambulance services because he was profiting off of the ambulance. He didn't care if they were doing a good job. So he didn't
Right.
really run the ambulance services so they worked well. He ran them so he made as much money as possible. So then people called 911 and either nobody showed up, they came very late, they gave very bad care. People freaking died because of this man.
Yeah.
And here we are. Laura's trying to fix it. She's running for county council or commissioners,
Mhm.
and we still didn't win, even with that story. Like it was perfect for us. The trial happened right before the election. I was at the trial. I spoke on Sean Bossock's page. Thousands of people saw me, and it didn't matter. We didn't elect the people that wanted to stop the Jamie Knoll corruption. So
Yeah, and that's
we
the thing,
still have a
like,
lot of
so
work.
much corruption in, like, these small towns, and, like, where I'm from, I'm the president of the county commissioners, there's a property that she owns. Last week, it was just raided for a prostitution ring, and so no one's pushing her to get investigated for human trafficking, and it's like, these are the things that we should be calling out and to be like, "Hey, this isn't right. Why don't we get a new, get Democrats in there?" But if we don't have representation, then it's just impossible. So, and we need that support to call the corruption out and to hold them accountable. But with no accountability, it's just
And the way
impossible.
I'm feeling right now, I will still get some support from District 9. I will get as much support as Harrison County Democrats can give,
Yeah.
but the majority of the work is going to be me doing it myself. Project
Hmm.
Next to get my name out, help Tim Peck win. Um,
And leave no gem
and,
behind on TikTok. I
and then
always,
all the great Hoosier Action, Mad
yeah.
Voters, people like you and Corinne and Kurt, all of these people, um, we are going to have to pull more of the weight now because we picked a person that's not going to be driven to help us. I hope Destiny keeps up her social media. I think she will because she really leads by example. Her calling out sexual assault, alleged sexual assault Democrat, and being one of the few to do
Yeah.
that meant a lot to me as a woman. Doesn't that mean a lot to you?
Yeah, no, it does. And actually, her mom messaged me on Facebook and was, thanking me for having her back. And then she was telling me
I've
even
met
more.
her mom. I love her mom.
She's so kind. I was like, wow, this is really kind of you to thank me. No thanks are needed, but it's just what's necessary for the people. And I found that, like, when she told me all these stories, I was like, wow, like, now I even love Destiny even more because she had women's back when, like, why wouldn't we be
Wouldn't it
speaking
have been
out?
nice if the Indiana State Democrats, instead of gaslighting Destiny Wells and doing fake gossip about her, like
Right.
they've made up that she had a drinking problem, that she has absolutely no drinking problem. The
Yeah.
Democrats made up fake gossip,
Yeah.
including campaign managers
Yeah. And it really bothers me because, I'm in
or
social
one
work.
campaign manager. I don't know about multiple. I know of one.
Yeah, right. But as a social worker and, like, knowing that there's a huge problem, like an epidemic of, substance abuse in Indiana, and for those rumors to be spread, it's absolutely disgusting because they don't really realize, like, how impactful and detrimental that is to somebody's career, but also it is a huge problem in Indiana, and she doesn't have a problem. And you can see that clearly that she doesn't.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of people watching and we're getting a lot of people commenting. I just want to say I'm sorry if we don't get every comment. But Lisa said, I am a party chair, and I can tell you that the older generations let the Democratic Party in some of these counties die because they would never do anything different or include younger people. And we have seen that. We see that with Carlie's County, Kurt's County, Corinne's County, all where they blocked anybody new from coming in. It's not every county.
Yeah.
My county doesn't. Courtney's County doesn't.
Those
Floyd
are
doesn't.
great
Adam
ones.
Dickey does not gatekeep, by the way, for the most part. He lets new people come in. When my mom wanted to help because she lives in Floyd, they openly let her. They become friends with her. They were
Yeah.
very welcoming. So,
And I think that it's important to know, like, people don't have to have the counties, like, back to, like, do organizing in themselves. I mean, in 2017, I organized, like, free self-defense classes for women in Indiana. I've done, like, two, like, community events just by myself, and I did the fundraiser by myself. I mean, that my co-host
that's
dropped out that
that's
week.
yeah, and you still did it, and you still raised. You
Yeah.
raised. Do you remember how many people you raised money for on TikTok? Because I was one
Um,
of them.
I think it was around, like, 30. I
I
think.
I got I think around $100 from you.
Yeah, the amount of people was around 30, and then I think it was around, like, 2 grand that we raised, and, like, I know that wasn't a lot, but I
It's better than nothing.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
it
and
was
also the morale that you didn't live in my district and that you fought for me and you reached out and asked me and you did this fun thing helped me personally as a candidate because we're up against a money machine. I can't
absolutely.
raise the amount of money my opponent gets because she
Yeah.
gets special interest groups. And
Mhm.
so you need to realize that because you're like telling yourself, "Oh, I know it wasn't much." And I'm like, "Yeah, it was. Every penny helps." And also the morale of you caring about us. So
Absolutely.
I
And that's
don't
what
think
we
you
should
hear that
do.
enough. All that you did, Carlie, it's amazing. And you're just one person. And you're doing as much as you possibly can. You're doing more than normal people. And one of the reasons you do that is because you are really fighting for women. You're
Mhm.
fighting for women's safety. You personally have your own things where you're not safe. It's why you're not in Indiana right now, which pains my heart because I'd love to have you
Mhm.
closer. But I'm glad you're safe and I'm glad you're with a nice friend. I want to give that friend a hug.
Yeah.
Um, and you're not going to stop trying to protect women. You yourself have your own things you are trying to protect yourself. So when people think Carlie's scary, if you could just have a little bit of empathy and realize Carlie's life is stressful and Carlie wants to help other women that's also like this. Just
Mhm.
yesterday, I took a woman to the nonprofit for my friend Anissa does, where she gives clothes to people, but there has to be a trusted person taking them so they don't just steal the clothes. So I
Yeah.
took a friend. That friend, her children's dad is in jail, and when he gets out, he tries to kill her. So when these people
Mhm.
advocate for women's rights and are maybe a little emotional about it, I
Mhm.
would like the Central Committee and the people in charge, oh, so scared of feelings, to realize some of us are stressed out.
Yeah. And
Some of
also
us are stressed out.
Indiana is ranked 5th for domestic violence in the nation, and like a lot of people don't talk about that. And
So
there's
we're
there's
so we're
tons.
45th on the chain of best to worst. We're fifth on the worst.
Yeah. It's
Yay.
right. I mean, and it's terrible. And so like if we have a state party that is so late to like respond to sexual assaults, then how does that look for women? And like how does that make women feel safe when we don't hold people accountable right away? So I thank Destiny for, even speaking out, because I know that they tried to silence her even about that. And I just think it's disgraceful that we're not advocating more for women's safety. And although, I mean, I do know that I can have such an attitude sometimes, but I really speak from like, if people knew how much I've been silenced for, speaking out, I think they would be a little bit more understanding.
Carlie, I love you.
I love
If you ever got on the phone and you yelled at me because of hurt, I will forgive you.
you.
And that's the way you should be treated by these people that have power over you, that are saying, we don't want to listen to you because you're too emotional and you're scary.
Yeah.
Um, Destiny admitted on my show on mental fitness with her at the end of the episode that she has had her own sexual assault in the military, and she cried
Yeah.
for 20 minutes. She cried and she sniffled and she
Mhm.
told everybody on my show
That's
because I told her to be as vulnerable as she felt comfortable with, so
mhm.
people knew why she was so driven.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of Destiny for doing that.
Yeah.
I felt really honored that she said it on a Project Next show with me.
Yeah. I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, and I think that helps explain why was she one of the few brave people to come out against the state
Right.
senator that we currently have in power that used to be the minority leader. Now he's not, but he's still state senator. When she was one of the few people to publicly come out and call out against him and say she supports the women,
Mhm.
I think that answers why she did it.
Yeah.
She has a drive that
Mhm.
not everybody that gets that high up in government has.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fear that, just like
Yeah.
they fear you, just like they fear me, just like they fear Kurt and Corinne and all these other people that have been silenced. We have a drive inside of us. I
Yeah.
almost died giving birth to my
Yes.
triplets. One of them didn't make it. It was a high risk pregnancy the whole time. Um, my little baby Arwen died at week 29, and then
I'm
I
so sorry.
delivered almost dying at week 34 and a half. I lost a lot of blood, and never once did I have to say, was the government gonna let them save me? Because this is a very weird, different,
Right.
dangerous pregnancy. I had
Mhm.
my twins in 2018. Now my unique situation, because giving birth is dangerous. If this would have happened today, when in Kentucky and Indiana and in Ohio we don't have
Right.
women's health rights, I could have died. Do
Hmm.
you think I'm going to stop fighting for this right?
Right.
No, I'm never going to stop.
Yeah.
And experts think it's going to take 20 years to get it back.
20 years? Oh my God. What are we doing?
And um and
Oh,
that's only if we fight.
that's insane.
I know. And so when things like this happen and Destiny doesn't get elected and you
Mhm.
get, they block you from the county Facebook, and they tell Kurt he can't go to Wabash County Democrat meetings for a year, and they tell Corinne she can't even run for chair. When these things happen, it
Mm.
just makes the chances of my daughter and all the women in Indiana having health care rights take that much longer. So
Yeah.
when you tell us we shouldn't be upset, that we should just get over it,
Yeah. Or to
I
calm
think
down.
that's a very calm down. They like to tell women to calm down.
Yeah.
Hmm. I think that's pretty stupid of them. They
Yeah.
don't they don't have empathy. They're
Mm.
not listening. They're not listening to their base. They want the base to do what they tell us to, but
Right.
do they want to do what we want them to do? No.
Yeah.
And
And
I
it's hard when especially when there's like family members and family friends who are also they'd rather just keep things quiet, and they want to silence you, and like especially in a small town where I'm from, if you speak out you're just like the odd one out. And it's very frustrating when I've been in rooms with prosecutor or deputy prosecutors watching them do something illegal, and their job is to defend the law, and it's like, what are you doing? Yeah. What was the comment? What did
Laura said telling us to calm down is like throwing water on a cat.
Right.
One of the reasons that there's like a gazillion reasons why Destiny would be like the freaking best Indiana Tim State chair we've ever had. And
Yeah.
one of them is, do you know how many times as a woman we're told we're wrong? Like when we're strong leaders
Right.
and we're voicing when we see culture things not working out, and we're like, well, this is stupid. Well, that's stupid. I'm always been one of those people that call it out. Shouldn't we change this and do this? And they're
Right.
just like, no, Sarah, this is the way it's always been. The
Right.
number of times I've been told I was wrong, when you look back in time, in the over 50% I was right. I don't have the numbers, but I
Yeah.
was right a lot of those times I was told wrong. You were
Absolutely.
that too. Destiny was that too.
Mhm.
Destiny being a 41-year-old woman and having been told no a lot, and knowing that a lot of times she is right, and being able to keep her composure and
Yeah.
being able to forgive the people that gaslight and bully her and still work with them.
Hmm.
She was so uniquely qualified for that job because she could do
Absolutely.
it. And do you know
Yeah.
how many humans can do it? I'm going to say not many. Not
No.
many have learned to control the temper, to control what's inside them, and to fight, because we've got to help people in
Yeah.
Indiana.
I,
We have
I'm
to.
still learning that to control, the emotions when especially on the keyboard when I'm sending an email. Things I have to filter it through Chat GPT. I
That's
learned that.
smart. That's a
Yeah,
smart
I have to do
tip.
that a couple
I
times.
just want to say you're allowed to have the emotion. And
Yeah.
I think it's good for you to write your version and keep it, and you write the version that they can handle, because
Right.
they can't handle your version. But
Yeah.
just know I like the real you.
Thank
And
you.
most people, true people that love you, like the real you. You should never change who you are. You
And
do have to change how you talk to these people so we can get some power in Indiana, but something tells me it doesn't matter the way you worded your message. The message of wanting change is the problem.
right.
So
Yeah.
I don't really even think in your instance you're not saying it right, maybe. I think they just don't like what you're saying.
Yeah. And the county chair yesterday, like the conversation and using, my situation, oh, Tanya, I love you. Oh, I'm so glad she made it. And using those circumstances against me was just like really hard to hear, because I would love nothing more than to be, in Indy protesting with all of you guys, or, wherever you guys are. I wish I was there supporting everybody.
So
And
let's just say what your comments are. So you were told on the phone recently by somebody within your county chair that it would have been nice if you were still in Indiana so you could help us. Something
well,
similar to that?
Yeah, it was very condescending. It was like, oh, so when are you going to be here? Like, when are you going to finally like show up? And, are you going to run something or run for something? And I was like, I didn't even know like how to be like a precinct person.
That's gaslighting. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
gaslighting right there. And
Yeah.
Democrats do it to other Democrats all the time.
Right.
You're not the problem. The person saying that to you is the problem. They're not being welcoming to you. And
Yeah.
instead of welcoming you, they're going to try to act like you're the problem and you should go away. But in
Right.
reality, we need to get involved. We need to be the louder ones and we need to call out the gaslighting. It's hard to call that out
Yeah.
because at first you're like, oh, well, I am in Texas. Oh, that's right. I should be in Indiana. I should be trying to help. But you're literally not in Indiana because it's not safe for you there.
Yeah.
Who has a problem with that?
Right. And I'm doing
Somebody
as
that
much
clearly
as I
doesn't
can.
care about you.
Yeah.
I mean, so it just takes a minute because I had some serious gaslighting about a year ago and it caused me to have suicidal thoughts. And the thoughts came when I thought I was hurting my own child because I was trying to help a nonprofit and they realized I had power and I was going to help more than they realized. And so they gaslit me and kicked me off their committee. And they made up a bunch of fake things about me. And then they started to try to hurt my child. And then I was like, I don't deserve to live. I messed all this up. I caused my husband to do work. I did all this work. Oh my gosh. And so then I got help. I never went through
Mhm.
with it. I immediately was like, oh, call people that love me. So I did. I called people that love
Absolutely.
me. I got therapy. I'm still in
Mhm.
therapy. But now I
Oh,
realize I'll never let.
I love therapy. I would not be sane at this point if I didn't
I have
have
therapy every
therapy.
2 weeks, and Aaron
Yeah,
helps me so much. Yeah. And,
absolutely.
but just climbing out of the gaslighting and then
Hmm.
being like, oh, I'll never let people treat me like that again. I shouldn't have forced my
Yeah,
way into a group that was so rude to me anyway, you know?
right.
And they were
Absolutely.
so unhealthy, and I kept trying to help make them healthier, and I should have just backed out. Now I know
Mhm.
there's this amount of healthiness I have to have in an organization to try to help, and they were not meeting it. But I'd never tried to help a nonprofit before, so it was all new to me. But
Yeah.
this is what's happening with you, and it sounds like you've had it with your family, and I'm just so sorry, where they act like you're the problem, but you're trying to help the problem, and they don't want you to call out the problem, so make you go away and say it's you.
Yeah. Well, and I think that uh, I don't in the small towns, like, if you are outspoken, then it, shines a light on you and your family, and they'll try to bring up things. And um,
That's such a good
I
point.
mean, especially, in my circumstances, it was very unique, where it was, a government entity that I'm trying to fight.
I'm so
So
sorry.
they have all that information, and they have, and I didn't want my parents to be like attacked or anything, but also they wanted to silence me as well. So it was just very difficult. It was mentally better to be out of that situation and like out away, so I could.
Personally, I'm glad you're in Texas.
Yeah, I
I
needed that.
think that's a better place for you right now. Maybe you can come back sometime, but I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I
someone
hope
that
so.
loves you, you should get out of the abuse. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And a lot of people, and I just want to say, I know that a lot of people don't have the resources to be able to just like get away. And like, thankfully, my friends were the ones that flew me down. So they all rallied together, and they got me here. So I'm
That's
grateful
so
to them.
sweet. Thank
Yeah.
you for everybody of Carlie's friends that did that. That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
that's
because
why.
you are a beautiful person. And
Thank you.
you need to realize that's why people will help you because you're not perfect and
No.
your life has been hard and you're doing the best you can and you're fighting for other women in the same situations and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be scared of people like you. We should care. If she says something, you all, that scares you, message her
Yeah.
and find out more about it instead of thinking bad things about her. Or maybe just stop and realize maybe it's sexism. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's jealousy that she looks like a supermodel. Just kind of recognize that maybe the negative thoughts you have for Carlie aren't really about Carlie.
Yeah.
Maybe they're cultural.
And also,
And
I think people I have to be safe with what I say about the situation. I can't be so public because
right, you got
I,
to keep yourself safe.
yeah. And I also, like, I'm hopefully going to be able to sue. So I have to also, like, not be able, I can't say everything and, like, names and situations.
Protect yourself first,
Yeah.
always. Yeah,
So,
and I don't think you need to prove to us. You don't
Right.
need to prove to us on social media that you're having some scary situations. You just say you're having something scary and we just believe you, because that's part of the culture shift we could do too. Yes, some
Right.
people lie. Yes, some people say fake things about people that aren't true, and that's really hurtful. But
Yep.
the majority of the time, it
They're
comes
right.
from a place of hurt.
Right.
And it's really hard when you're in such a stressful situation, because I think back to my suicidal thoughts time. I
Hmm.
was I was way too public about who hurt me. I didn't say the names, but I said enough details for people to figure it out. If
Yeah.
I'd go back in time, I wouldn't have been so public about it. But I was
Hmm.
so stressed out, I wasn't thinking clearly. And
Yeah.
it's important to have empathy for people in very stressful situations. They're not always making the best decisions because their life is literally on the line.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And
And
also,
so
like,
just don't be so judgmental. Let's just
right.
not judge them.
And sometimes, like, I mean, I've never been in this situation before, so I didn't even know what to do. Like, actually, Pat Boyd, the representative, first time I canvassed was with her, and I reached out to her when I was going through that situation, and she was like, "You have to get a lawyer." And she gave me some resources and where to find like
Oh,
free
nice to
legal.
hear.
Yeah, Pat Boyd's amazing. And so she was so helpful. But also, like, in reality, like those organizations that are be able that can provide free legal aid, they are lacking resources, so they didn't have it would be like a civil lawsuit, so that's
Yeah,
very hard to
same
find.
thing
So,
happening. Yeah. I actually know a woman that I'm going to have on the show sometime soon, hopefully, that got
mhm.
herself out of a domestic violence situation, and now she has her own nonprofit where it's
Mm,
really tricky though, because you can't like say the nonprofit's name. You can't say where the meetings are because the people that
right.
are harming the women will come to it. So it's really hard to
Yeah.
get money for it and stuff. But I've found women before just
Mhm.
through Facebook pages where they're asking for help, and I've reached out and talked to them enough to find out they're a domestic violence situation they're trying to get out, and I connect them with my friend, and she'll have classes with lawyers. She'll have classes that they can
Oh,
come to, and I've opened up, offered to babysit for the women if they have children.
see, that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, but
That's so
again, it's really
awesome.
hard for her to raise money because it's a very quiet. Whatever we do, we
Yeah.
cannot put these women in danger. And
Hmm.
so I feel you when you say you're in a situation, you can't say what the situation is, you can't tell people where you are, and you need money. And it's like, well, we don't trust you because you're not giving us very many details.
Yeah.
So I hear you when you say that it's a tricky problem. It's one that my friend is trying to work out, and I'm so proud of her for taking the extreme life that she had that was hidden because he
Mhm.
knew where to hit her, so people couldn't tell. He was a
Oh yeah. Right.
mm. And anyway, and I'm so proud of her for using that rage that she has inside of her, of the pain that was done to her, to use it to try to help other women. But a
Mhm.
lot of people don't understand that drive.
Yeah, and that's
That
why I did those self-defense classes, in 2017, because
that's smart.
and the first one I did, it was a group of Girl Scouts that came, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing. I loved it so much. So that was before I went to school for social work, but and actually, my therapist is the one that told me you should go to school for social work because you have such a drive for
Your
helping
therapist is
people.
so right. You got to be wonderful at that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay, we're about ready to get off here. Tanya, who's your friend who
Yeah.
followed us, she asked, let me see if I can find it. She asked, how can we get more involved in Project Next? Thanks for asking that, Tanya, and thanks for being on this. So Project Next, um, we are a media company, and our main goal is to unite and not divide. It
Mhm.
is to do these shows, like get the word out, where we kind of shine a light on things that could be better, like the Indian and Democratic leaders could be better here. But we also have a lot of other shows. We have a Dr. Tim show with emergency room Dr. Tim Peck, who tries to give the best medical tips to everybody. We have a new cooking show for my husband. This is
Oh,
so cute, Cooking with Chris, and he just did an episode about making overnight oats, which he makes for him and I for breakfast. They're very healthy and delicious and cheap. And
oh,
we just have a lot. We have a new show with you would like this one, Carlie. Our new show with Brian Zimmerman, who's a special forces veteran, where he
mhm.
breaks down his mental struggles of his whole life and how he's working through them to overcome them. It really gives a lot of tips on, like, if you have PTSD, if you have panic attacks, if you live a high stressful life, how can you manage? I think
Yeah,
that would help you. Me
yeah,
too.
for
He's
sure.
already helped me a lot. And so anyway, the way you can help us with Project Next is to tell all of your friends and family about us and have them follow on whatever social media network
Mhm.
they use. If you're on Facebook, we're under Project Next Indiana. If you're on TikTok, we're Project Next. I don't remember which one. Project Next something.
Yeah.
If we're on YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram, it's one word, Project Next Movement. And just sharing and growing. And then we're going to keep trying to meet amazing people like Carlie and have them on to try to amplify their voices.
And
So that's
Tanya's going to be running for something. I'm going to get her to run for something this next
cool.
weekend. So
That's
you'll be
awesome.
interviewing her for
Good
sure.
luck, girl. Yeah, we need as many badass, strong women running for things as possible because it is a little hard to get in there. But hey,
Yeah.
I ran for state house. I'm planning on doing it again, and I'm not a quiet. I'm trying to. I learned from Destiny. Destiny, I learned from her. How do you walk this line of you're driven, you want to make changes, but you don't want to upset the people in power?
Right. It's
So
so
I
hard.
learned from her. Yeah. Any last thoughts you want before we end this? I just thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully you can come on again. We can talk about other issues.
Absolutely. And I just want to thank you so much for just having the empathy and seeing, me as a person and not just, like the scary person that, people are
The
intimidated
leaders in
by.
the Indiana Democrats think you are. Look
Yeah.
at her. She's so terrifying.
I really appreciate it though, just giving me the
Uh,
opportunity to, say my
it,
piece.
it takes one word: empathy.
Right.
Empathy.
Empathy.
And you
Exactly.
need empathy for yourself. I've forgiven myself for
Yeah.
almost causing my son harm.
Yeah.
I've forgiven myself, and that gave me the ability to forgive everybody else.
Yeah.
So I think if you can't forgive Carlie for being a little stressed out about her life, maybe you need to forgive yourself for something that you're not. You're too hard on yourself. I think a lot of us are too hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was trying to be a different version of me. Did you know that? I found this out in therapy. I was trying to be a good mom, a good wife, doing what my mom wanted me to do, my husband wanted me to do. My therapist was like, "Wait, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I want to run for state house, but the other people don't want me to do that." And they're like, "No, no, no. You should do what you want to do. They'll love
Right.
you either way." And I was like, mind blown. Ran for state house, changed my life, met Tim Peg, did Project Next. If I wouldn't have had that therapy session of going, you should do what you want to do, I don't
Right.
I
It's
wouldn't be talking
life
to you right now.
changing. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you did because we need people like you are a blessing to Indiana. Like I keep
Oh,
saying
thanks
that,
for
but you
saying
really
that. That's
are. And I just love that your last name is Blessing because it is so true.
I
That
looked that up when I met my husband on eHarmony. I found him on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good last name."
that's awesome.
um, but yeah, I also like having you on because in our culture we try to tell women we should be enemies of other women,
Yeah. It's
and we are missing out.
absolutely
If me and you are enemies, we don't get to be this friendship. We don't get to have
right.
this, and this is beautiful.
It is. And I'm so
I
grateful that I met you through TikTok of all places. And
And
it
now
was
we have each other's cell numbers, and now we talk on the phone. So you can
yeah,
call me more often. You are a friend of mine.
I will.
And I'll call you if I need some help because sometimes, like, I don't have Tim right now. He's out, and I miss him. So sometimes I
Right.
need some friends.
Yeah, and please let me
So
know how he's doing. Keep me updated because I'll be
everybody pray for Tim Peck and just be there for him. He's in a lot of pain right now, you guys.
that's awful.
They told him he was going to be in pain. It's expected pain, but it's
Yeah.
pain. And my heart hurts for my friend. I just care about him so much. And his wife, I care about her too. She's struggling taking care of him. She's struggling seeing him in the pain. I'm not even seeing
Oh,
him. I'm just hearing about it. She's watching him every day. So,
I can't.
um, yeah, I feel for him. Okay, you guys, please share Project Next. Please come back on the show, Carlie. I love you
Of
so
course.
much.
I love
Um,
you.
I'd like to do like a special episode, maybe about social work and maybe about protecting women,
Absolutely. I would
like
love
maybe
that.
if you want to pull some resources of what people can do when they feel like they don't have any control, because I
Yeah.
don't know. I would like to know more. I know my friend Wendy. I know how to connect people here and get them help, a little bit of help, but I
Yeah.
don't know statewide or countrywide what we can do. So if you ever want to
Absolutely.
do an episode with me, maybe we could help some women out. That'd be
I would
cool.
love that. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. To get the word out in one day because we had two sets of gatekeeping we needed to talk about,
Right.
and it helps me deal with my Destiny Wells loss. But she's still there. She's still fighting for Indiana, thankfully, and I'm still going to
Thank
look
God.
at her for as a mentor. All
Hmm.
right, you guys. Love you all. Take care. let's see,
Right.
Corinne's doing a live on Thursday at 1. We're doing a Plots and Politics on Friday at probably 11:30, but you can watch them afterwards. Did you know Corinne and I are doing a show about women's history?
Okay, I will definitely tune in for that. I
We
love
did our first episode last week, and we're doing our second episode on it next week. And I learned so much
that.
from her. She's so freaking genius.
That's awesome. You guys are amazing. What you guys are doing is so cool.
You're amazing too. All right, love you guys. Take care, and we'll see you next time.